So your second topic. Last topic of the week
is a little bit rougher again, going back.
More serious, more, dare I say it, real.
Whoa, it's more real talk.
Yeah. With Tom and Joey.
So my question to you is, I'll ask you a question, then I'll preface it a little bit. So my question is, should certain industries, businesses, organizations not be allowed to pursue a profit motive? And what that means is, so when you're a business, you open up, you're always looking to make money. You want revenue, you want income, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You are trying to make profits. So there are nonprofit organizations such as public universities, whatever. But obviously there's kind of a overwhelming theme of, yeah, you might not be nonprofit, but you're kind of for profit. I mean, there's a way to work around it. But do you think that certain industries in the United States should be forced not to make profits, or do you think it's just kind of, you know what? I mean, everyone has a right to make their own money their own way. Why should one be allowed to? Why shouldn't one be allowed to and one not be allowed to?
And one of the biggest ones in one of the for-profit motive situations like you were talking about that I feel the most passionate about is for-profit prisons. And do you think that there should be industries? What do you mean?
Do you think that certain businesses, industries should be banned from going for a profit motive?
Yeah, certain ones for sure.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, I would even say all because that would just be stupid. But
right,
definitely, I would agree that certain ones should. And especially when it comes to more umbrella type businesses, I would say anything to do with incarceration or education. Because
those are probably the two big two.
Yeah. Were there something that more like in particular that you were thinking about?
No. I mean, so for you, do you think that tax dollars should fund education or prisons, or I mean, how would you fund it?
Yeah, it would be through taxpayer.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
So would that be let's say,
because when you do that, in particular when you talk about for-profit prisons, when you make it about taxpayer dollars and make taxpayer dollars funding that, you look for ways to cut that down. So in order to look for ways to cut down on incarceration costs, you look for ways to avoid incarcerations. So you get rid of laws and certain like legalization of marijuana. You take that away, you get a massive amount of the incarceration percentage that's now removed from the incarceration system, and that would save money when it comes to taxpayer dollars funding it.
It's because we've talked about it before. I think prisons being privatized, the initial idea was good. Like the intent was good because
I'm sure it was to the point where they couldn't afford to run it.
Exactly.
So it's like they had to look for that.
Right. And now it's the idea of, well, I mean, should we really have a business that their model is the more prisoners I have, the better off I'm doing?
Literally, that's what it comes down to.
Because that's tough. I mean, you need prisoners, so of course you're going to want to arrest more people than not because you have an incentive. I would say for me, it's probably more so on the education side. I definitely agree. I don't think there should be private prisons now. I think that originally, like you said, it probably was the only way.
Yeah, because there's like, we can't afford this. We're having people incarcerated, especially with laws back then. There were probably obscure ones that got people arrested for some pretty dumb stuff. Right. So they probably ran out of room, was like, fuck, we can't afford this stuff. So we have to look through an outside source. And then it just exponentially grew. And
now I'm assuming you would think that public colleges should be free for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, you get into a difficult situation with that because obviously we could go in for, student loan program in general could be its own separate topic, but if you do it the right way, because it's a weird topic to talk about because there's so many different things that could go into it that would then avoid the problem because obviously you make universities free, then there's certain things that they would claim that they would not be able to do because they're not able to use tuition money to do it.
Right.
But then there's also things where if you clean up maybe like the tax program and certain companies that don't pay taxes, you would pay taxes and then you could generate it through other avenues.
What about hospitals?
Like health insurance in general, you mean?
No, just hospitals themselves.
What they should be free?
Should they?
Be for profit? Have a profit motive.
For profit?
Because that's in maybe that's kind of like the umbrella of my belief when it comes to for-profit. Anything that helps people or is like for the greater good of this society shouldn't be for-profit, because it's like you go into, I mean, charities could be another example too, because you have certain for-profit charities.
Well, the reason why I say hospitals is because the idea that, if you have more prisoners, the incentive behind, I have more prisoners, I make more money. Well, couldn't you make the same argument for hospitals?
Yeah,
more
but
sick people you have.
But you can forcibly arrest people for dumb stuff and put them in your prisons and make money off of that.
You could forcibly get people more sick.
What, with like...
not treating them?
Oh, like when they're in there at first, not treating them correctly?
Yeah.
Or you mean like immunizations?
Anything.
Yeah, I guess that would be...
Getting people sick is not that hard.
Yeah, I guess that would be a different approach, because you're forcibly making people sick as opposed to you're forcibly...
Well, I mean,
make someone
comes in with a common cold and you say, no, this might be more serious, we need to keep you a couple extra days, but nothing was ever wrong.
Oh, yeah, in terms of that, yeah, you're totally right. Because you look at that doctor, I forget, was he in Michigan or Ohio? Maybe not either one of those, but he was diagnosing people and telling people that they had cancer.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
And he went away for, like, I think he has like 50 or 60, 70 years in prison. I mean, he's going to die in prison.
Yeah.
But yeah, he would tell people that they had cancer. So in order to get that treatment of that and make all that money off of the cancer treatments, like the chemotherapy, the drugs, everything that goes into a cancer treatment, he was telling these people that didn't actually have cancer, then he would make money. So yeah, you're right that those situations like that happen.
Same with orthodontists, dentists. I mean, would that follow?
But that would be, it would also, because for prisons, because you would argue that private prisons incarcerate and make money off of the incarceration rate, and it's like, that's a known thing. So if you're talking about doctors holding people in, or in that case, telling people they have cancer when they don't, that would be more like they're getting away with something that's already not allowed. In private prisons, that's just a known thing.
Right, yeah.
So it's like they're making money off of incarceration, and the whole higher the incarceration rate goes up. But for profit in terms of hospitals and doctors doing situations like that, that would be illegal.
Right. Yeah, I mean, for me, it's tough because I'm all pro business, make your money, make your wealth, whatever. Mm-hmm. But I do think that as a society, there just needs to be a bare bones minimum that everyone's entitled to, because that's how societies work.
Yeah.
That's how they've always worked. That's why we have welfare. That's why we have Medicaid. That's why we have entitlements. That there's a reason why they're there.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that tax dollars... I don't think we should be punishing companies for being successful. And I think we do that too much, because you just think, they make billions and billions and billions. But when you really start crunching the numbers, so what?
Yeah.
Amazon makes tons of money and they barely break even. So, well, now they don't, but that's of recent years.
Mm-hmm.
So just because a company generates a ton of money doesn't mean that people are walking away with tons. But I think you have the right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. But the pursuit of happiness is an umbrella of you have the right to be alive, you have the right to get a job, and you have the right to provide food, water, and shelter. If those things are covered, then I think that's where your entitlements end. And the problem I have is I think our standard of life has gotten so high now that everyone feels like that they should have it.
Yeah.
So stuff like the orthodontist, for instance. If people had crooked teeth for hundreds and hundreds of years, and our generation was really the first huge wave of braces.
Yeah.
And it's funny because you talk to your parents and they'll say, yeah, my parents think we're nuts for getting you braces. That happens.
Yeah.
Okay. But I don't think that my tax dollars should go to giving everyone braces, you know?
That's true, yeah.
And I think that I find it hard to make something not a profit motive, because I think that you get these isolated cases that kind of break a long chain. Whereas if you just made a system that was flexible and just said, you know what, you can do this, but you can't use this for other reasons. So maybe private prisons, okay, yeah, you can generate a lot of income, but the money that you generate has to be used towards something else.
I think
then maybe that's not a big deal, because then maybe it goes towards, I mean, who knows? But if you use that money, I think if you help incentivize that money to go somewhere else, then it's kind of doesn't matter what the profit motive is, because like you said, as long as it's benefiting society, then who gives a shit?
Yeah, and another point I wanted to touch on was maybe put an age restriction on it in terms of the type of business that you're dealing with, in terms of like charter schools being for profit, because you're dealing with the education of kids.
Yeah.
And when it comes to that extent, you shouldn't be for profit. But then you could make an argument or counter argument to that when it comes to the universities, because you're dealing with adults, and the student loans, they're registered in the student's name.
Right.
So it's like,
that's
them. The tuition rates in the United States are just outrageously high.
Right.
But you as an adult are signing off and saying, I'm willing to pay this and get the benefits of it in terms of the education. But when you have kids that are involved and you're educating kids that don't have a choice in the matter.
Right.
But I mean, obviously you can make the argument that the parents are then making that choice.
Yeah.
But I think in terms of when you're educating kids, and even when you're maybe dealing with kids in terms of medical costs, that should be a point of significance when it comes to maybe like anything under 18 or something.
And colleges are tough because
I think, a caveat, do you think all community colleges should be free? Because I think all community colleges at the least should be free.
So yes, but I was going to make a point, and that's kind of where I was going, because I think that, like I was saying, bare bones, everyone deserves the right to life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. I think the pursuit of happiness is getting a job, and I think that society dictates what requirements you need to get a job. And one of those things is an education. And I think that we talked about how trade schools aren't advertised enough. You can get a great job doing that, which is absolutely true. But if society is telling me that I need a bachelor's, then doesn't it make sense that the minimum requirement for me just being a contributing member of society is, well, then I get tuition?
And we talk about the greater good. When you get that bachelor's degree and when you get an education, especially at the collegiate level, if you're able to provide funds through taxpayer money for that education, it's simple. I mean, I don't even know how to describe it, but it's just simple common sense to think that the more education you get, the more opportunities you're going to unfold.
Right.
And if you as a country, I mean, the United States is so low in the ranks when it comes to education. I mean, it's a common known fact that we are. And if you want to generate specifically
innovation and I mean, those are going to be the people who create new jobs for other people.
You want to talk about nationalism. Yeah. And if you're one of those people that are anti-immigration or super nationalism when it comes to you want the United States to be the greatest country on earth, then you should get behind the fact that we should invest so much more money into education than we are.
Yeah. And it's tough because it's not free college, because someone is paying for it no matter what. It's just the idea that, I mean, we've been through college, so we know. I mean, is it really worth that much money?
Yeah. Not the outrageous amount of tuition money that you're forced to pay.
Yeah, that I'm paying. I mean, tuition rates have gone nuts now. And the president of Michigan State, I'm no fan of hers. I've never met her. What does she do for me?
It's almost like you're paying for the context. It's like when people say with Apple products,
you're paying for the diploma. You're paying literally for the diploma.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, with the name of the school printed on it,
and that's it. And it's just, I don't know, but it's real tough because I think that the system is bending right now, and it will break. Mm-hmm. But why can't we prevent it from breaking? But I don't know. I think college is kind of a unique example because it's just the idea that it's either employers start to say, you know what, let's start doing, because my dream world is that employers fund their own institutions, and then you learn instead of going to college for 4 years and just trying to get out as quickly as possible with the best grades you can, you go to a company who teaches you a bunch of different skills. And they're providing education that's on site, and you're learning about it, as opposed to, I'm just going to learn how to pass this professor's exam.
Or they have the business, because I know a few people that have had the businesses that they work for pay for them to go back to school and learn.
That happens a lot.
Yeah, because then you get the businesses to pay for them to get a better education. Yeah. And for them to expand more on their knowledge, so they come back to the business and be able to present new ideas, and that's how you get innovation. Yeah. That's how you generate these new ideas that then put your business on the map in terms of if you're a business owner. And when you talk about the generalization of society, if you put more funds into education, we as a country will not only get better economically, because getting a better education and becoming more educationally strong in terms of a country, there's only benefits. There's literally no negatives.
Right. It's just tough because everyone wants to be loaded.
Yeah.
And someone's got to do the dirty jobs that don't pay a lot. Otherwise, everything crumbles.
Mm-hmm.
So someone's got to pay for it. And if we all have to pay for it, okay, but people still have to work. Like with prisons, we need them. Whether we want them or not, we need to have them.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
I mean, the United States is the richest country on earth that the earth has ever seen and ever will see. And the fact that we're so low in such important things like education, that makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, it's weird.
Because if any of the other countries that you see, I mean, if we're being real here on Real Talk, the fact of it is why we're so low in education is because 610 billion of our governmental dollars or taxpayer money goes to military. But no other country puts that much to their military. And you look at if other countries that have that mindset of not putting that much money towards their military had the money and the GDP and the economy that the United States has, their education would be absolute top priority. That's why you see like school lunches, for example, like you have burgers and fries in the United States, schools, public schools. Then you go overseas and they have like 4-course meals.
Right. And they're super, I mean, the portions are smaller.
Yeah, the serving sizes.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I would say that, certain businesses shouldn't be for profit because that kind of goes against like the core. Because I've always been in the impression that do whatever you want unless it hurts me. So why do I care if a business is for profit or not? But I wonder if it does hurt society that certain businesses can make money because, quite frankly, it like we said, I mean, I'm trying to find the rationalization of privatizing prisons because it's real tough.
Other than what we mentioned, like back in the day when they first became about or became a thing.
And I understand in the idea that the better security we have, the safer the people are. I'm totally on board with that. But like there are a lot of people in prison that could still benefit society that are in. I mean, I guess prisons not as much as jails because.
I mean, because like we talk about private prisons. Not all prisons are private, but there are a significant amount that are industrialized.
Yeah.
And where, I mean, it's the simple fact of the more people you have in them, the more money you make.
The life sentencers, why not just like give them jobs to do that? I'm not saying that we're going to rehabilitate them and to be a citizen that's contributing to society because they already made their choice. They're in life. They'll stay there.
Yeah.
But why not give them just manual labor that a company needs and help them save money and then hopefully employ more people or pay somebody else?
Yeah.
I'm cool with that.
Or provide more education for the inmates because you have the re-incarceration rate where people that are in prison that come out are back in. I mean, I don't know the exact percentage, but I know it's higher than it should be, which it should be 0.
Yeah, I think it's 75%.
Yeah.
I mean, but that could just be a fake news statistic.
Yeah. I mean, regardless, it should be 0.
Right.
And the fact of you talk about increasing education in terms of the public education that should have the right to it regardless.
Yeah.
Even if you're incarcerated, you should have the right to become educated because if you're not serving life and you're coming back to society, you don't want to be the only knowledge that you know is how to carve a shank out of your toothbrush.
Right.
You want to be able to recontribute to society and become a contributor.
Do you think that health and education is a citizen's right?
Health, I mean, I don't know enough about the healthcare system to say that, but education, 100%.
Okay.
1,000%.
I think that if you are born in America, you have the right to be. Oh man, it is tough because I am pro cut every tax known to mankind. I would love to have tax cuts up the wazoo.
Mm-hmm.
If I was in office, I'd go in there with a katana and just no more.
No budget cut.
Yeah, no budget cut. But I just like at some point you can't do that anymore.
Yeah,
and there's certain things that just cost money, and you got to pay for them somehow. And I just feel like you can only hammer corporations. So we constrict corporations so much and demonize them so much, but I feel like if we welcome their activity more, then maybe they'd be more inclined to put their money in our own economy. And we can use that money to fund things like prisons. So I don't know. I would say that it probably is a good idea to have certain industries and not be for profit technically, because it does get rid of some of that incentive as long as it works. because if we can have taxpayer funded hospitals and prisons that work, then I mean, what else can we really ask for?
Yeah. And yeah, my just biggest point when it comes to this topic in particular is just, you can tell I'm a big proponent of education and just education on a grand scale.
Yeah, for sure.
Because that's how you
that's how you excel as a society.
Especially when it comes to all the conflicts we're going to face as we progress as a generation.
They're going to get a lot more complicated.
And a lot more intense and a lot more pressure of riding on them. Because, I mean, regardless of what do you think about climate change, it's a thing. It's a fact. And the fact that we're going to have to come into contact with situations that present complications because of climate change, like drought and losing out of fresh water and food. Right. So, and especially the atmosphere as well. So if you develop technologies that are able to solve these problems in the future, the only way you're going to be able to get an opportunity at those chances, at those solutions, is through education.
Yeah.
It was a good topic.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
We got nowhere with it, but it was a good point.
No. It was a good topic, though.
Cool.
There you have it, everybody. There is episode 6 of Real Talk with Tom and Joey. Every single week, Tom and I bring 2 random topics of discussion to the table for entertainment, while most importantly, keeping it real here on youtube.com/TJENT at noon Eastern Time every weekday. If you like that, if you enjoy what we do, you can go to patreon.com/TJENT, where you can throw us a few bucks of support and get the show early, along with some other sick rewards, including these badass stickers.
Yes.
That are on the back of our devices. They're super awesome, and they would cost you pretty much nothing to acquire.
That's true.
Yes. But if you don't want to throw us a few bucks to support, it's all good in the hood. You can tune in every single weekday here on youtube.com/TJENT, where we break up each topic day by day, video by video, until the whole episode goes up on Friday as one big video. And if you don't want to watch us on YouTube,
no big deal.
No biggie. You can go on YouTunes. You can go to iTunes.
Face chat.
iTunes and SoundCloud.com/TJENT. And on the iTunes, if you type in Real Talk with Tom and Joey or any combination, you should be able to find us with our badass logo.
We'll be there.
Go ahead and give us a review and a subscribe on there. It would really help us out and really get us into more of an audience, which we're always in support of.
Yep.
So if you don't know,
now you know.
Now you know. Thanks for joining, everybody. We hope you enjoy this episode. Let us know in the comments if you do, and we'll see y'all next time.
Peace out.
Peace.